Hi everyone, I'm Fyruz Khan, and I'm back again with a brand new class. And right now I have academic IELTS writing part. So today is session 4 and 5. So we are going to do two sessions together because they're not so big. In the last class, in a detailed way, we talked about uh, simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. So when you write your task 1 and task 2, what is the kind of structure you should follow? Or what gets you more grades? That was the basic question. And if you write just simple sentence like, I went to the zoo, I drank a glass of water, of course you won't get a band score 7 or a 7.5. You may end up with a 5.5 or a 6. If you write compound sentences like I went to the zoo and also drank a glass of water, you may end up getting a 6, 6.5. But then there are complex sentences that starts with although, because, whereas. When you use complex sentences, the range of getting higher grades, become the possibility increases. So this is why my recommendation to you is to have more of complex sentences, pack in more complex sentences, and supported with compound sentences. So that's the key. That's the key to success. Okay, and today so we are going to start with something that's. I think I've shared the wrong slides with you. Sorry about that. Let me just remove this and let me get the right. Okay, let me just get the right slide. Sorry about this. It happens. Okay, yeah, I got it. So let me share my screen again. Where's my application window? Is this? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So this is the right screen. Great. Somebody messaged me, where are you from, dude? Hi, Rashidul Islam. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm from Dhaka. Yeah, great. So let's start. So before starting again, I want to talk about a few things. Okay. So this particular slide is about, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see this is about writing sentences in different ways. So I'm tackling the challenges because I've been teaching IELTS for a very long time. I've been teaching IELTS continuously for the last 5 years. And one of the biggest challenges, especially when you write task 1, your sentences can look the same, it can sound the same, so it may become boring and repetitive. So there are some tips and tricks to show you how you can write different kinds of sentences, varied sentences. So here is an example, and I show this to all my students in my class. There you go. Writing sentences in different ways. So if you read the first sentence, let's zoom in a little bit. The number of people becoming vegetarian increased steadily from about 75 to 200 between 2004 and 2007. There we go. A straightforward sentence. It is a complex sentence. The number of people becoming vegetarian increased steadily from about 75 to 200 between 2004 and 2007. Now you can write this in a different way. So in the second sentence, what they did was they took this end part of the sentence and they placed it here. Between 2004 and 2007, the number of people becoming vegetarian. So then they took the first part, they took this part and they placed it here. Put a comma. Between 2004 and 2007. So this is a complex sentence, right? We did it in the last class. So if you're going to start with a complex sentence, if you start with although, if you start with between, as, or that, those kind of words, then you need to put a comma here. You just separate it. And then the number of vegetarian people increased steadily from about 75 to 200. So this is also a different way of writing. So see, the first two sentences are completely different from each other. So if you want to show a bit of variety in your writing, this is the way to go. The number of people becoming vegetarian increased steadily from about 75 to 200 between 2004 and 2007. Then you have between 2004 and 2007, they took the end part, put it, they've placed it in the beginning, and then they took the first part and placed it in the middle. The number of vegetarian people increased steadily from about 75 to 200. Everything remains the same. You just take the end part and place it in the beginning, and then everything remains the same. Don't forget to separate it by a comma. So in this way, what is happening is that you're not using the same sentence structure again and again. Because if you use the same structure, the number of people, the number of men, the number of this, it sounds the same. It sounds repetitive. It sounds boring. So to keep a variety, we use this. Let's have a look at the third sentence. So the third sentence is totally different. I mean, they've transformed it totally. There was a steady increase. So they're not using steadily anymore. They're using steady. There was a steady increase in the number of vegetarian people from 75 to 200 between 2004 and 2007. It means the same, but the structure is totally different. Okay, so they've transformed the word, they've changed steadily. They've changed steadily to steady, and you can do that. Steadily can become steady. That's fine. But if you change it to steady, you need to put some more words in the beginning. There was a steady increase in the number of people becoming vegetarian from 75 to 200 between 2004 and 2007. There we go. This is another variation that you can try out. The last one, the fourth variation, is the number of people becoming vegetarian. So it remains the same as the first sentence. The number of people becoming vegetarian experienced or witnessed. See, I'm using a good vocabulary. Experienced or witnessed a steady increase from 75 to 200 between 2004 and 2007. So if you remember the structure, it's very easy. It's like a formula. If you remember these four structure, তোমার কিচ্ছু মনে করা লাগবে না। Just এই চারটা structure যদি মনে থাকে যে এইভাবে লেখা যায়, then you can write down any sentences using this structure. That's it. You're done. You don't need to know grammar. You don't need to be aware of grammar or aware of grammatical errors, because this is like a formula. You just need to put your content and words inside any one of the structures, and you can use this anytime you like, right? So this is very helpful. So how one sentence is used in 4 different ways. This shows you that. Okay, so you might want to keep this handy. You might want to keep this with you, so that you can show it to people. You can write it in this way. Great. Today I want to show you something different. So in the last class we did bar graphs, we did line graphs. We know that in line graphs we need to use some different kinds of vocabulary like steady and stable, increase, decrease, sharp, fall, remarkable, dramatic, plunge, plummeted, surge, all those words. Now we have pie charts. In pie charts, you don't need to use any kind of special words like line graphs. It is similar to bar graph, but just I wanted to show you. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to show you. So there are 2 pie charts here. I will zoom out so that you can see the complete thing. Okay, so these are 2 pie charts. Pie charts are very common. Pie charts are used in big businesses to show market share, especially, or the use or consumption of something. So there are 2 pie charts here from different years. This pie chart dates back to 1980. This one dates back to 1990. So this pie chart shows you what happened in 1980, and the other one on the right hand side shows you what happened in 1990. Now, if you read the topic here, right here, okay, the given graph shows the main sources of energy for USA in 1980 and 1990. So the graph shows you the different sources of energy. So if you read this, notes here, it tells you about oil, it tells you about natural gas, it tells you about coal, hydroelectric power, it also tells you about nuclear power. So it shows you the consumption of these minerals or these sources of energy in two different times, in 1980 and in 1990. Okay, that's how it's done, right? Okay, so yeah, and then your question, write a report for a university lecture making comparisons. So here you have to make comparisons with each other. Sometimes they will ask to compare, sometimes they will just ask you to comment on it. Okay, so here you need to compare 1980 with 1990. Very easy. Please don't be scared, don't be overwhelmed, because let's say there are two pie charts here. Sometimes you will have two, sometimes you will have one, sometimes you may have one pie chart, and then sometimes you may have one bar graph. It's common, but having two chart or two bar graph does not mean that your writing is going to be difficult. Okay, so yeah, there we go. This is a pie chart. So your task for this pie chart is, it shows you the main sources of energy in 1980 and in 1990. So you have to write a report to a university lecturer where you need to make comparisons. So the main keyword is comparisons. You need to compare between these two. You need to compare and contrast. Okay, so there we go. So let's have a look. Again, it's similar structure. Let's write it down. Let's do it together. So introduction. Write down sorry about that. Write down introduction. Okay, so introduction, we know it's about paraphrasing, right? It's about paraphrasing. So you paraphrase this line. That's it. It is that simple. You paraphrase. So you can write, the given pie chart illustrates the main sources of energy, and you can write the main sources in bracket. Let's say coal, oil. What else do we have? Coal, oil. If you just have a look quickly, coal, oil, nuclear power, coal, oil, nuclear power. I'll just write etc. Let's say in the year 1980 and 1990. Okay. So there you go. This is your introduction. The given pie chart illustrates the main sources of energy. You can write in brackets: coal, oil, nuclear power, and that's it. You're done. Nuclear power, etc. Okay. There are other, don't write etc. when you're writing. I've just written so that it's quick. In the year or from a period between 1980 and 1990. Okay, so that's how you're supposed to write. That's your introduction. You paraphrase. After that, we know that there is no conclusion. You in task one, you have to write overview. Okay, there we go. Overview means you have to summarize. Okay, so let's go into the pie chart. Summarize means don't go into the details, don't go into the numbers. You can talk about, okay, for example, this is a significant difference. So in 1980, the use of oil was a lot, 42%. Then it reduced to 33% in 1990. Don't talk about the percentage, but you can say that the consumption has reduced from 1980 to 1990, but still oil was the main source of energy both in 1980 and 1990, whereas the second best consumption was natural gas, both in 1980 and 1990. Something that's quite interesting to me is that in 1990, hydroelectric power and nuclear power was same, but then in 1990, the consumption of nuclear power doubled. Okay, right? Coal did not vary much. It changed slightly. That's what you can say. So this is the overall. You just summarize. Don't go into details. Do not go into numbers. Summarize. Describe the trend. Describe the trend. Write the overview in such a way that I should get a clear idea, because I've read the introduction. Now I'm going to read the overview. I have not read body one, body two. So it should give me a clear idea of what the report is going to be. So you need to write the main. You need to write the main findings. Abrar, yes, I will email you the file. Do you want it right now? So describe. Okay, so summarize, describe the trend. Okay, so summarize it, describe the trend, and give the reader a clear idea of what the report is going to be. Okay, do not miss out anything. Okay, so that's their overview. I have a sample here. I just want to show you how they've written the overview. So always start overview with overall. Overall in both years, overall comma in both years. I hope you can see clearly. This is the overview paragraph. The most significant sources of energy were gas and coal. See, right? So the most significant sources, if you go here, the most significant sources was gas, natural gas, and coal. Yes. There we go. Significant sources of energy, gas and coal. So let's have a look at that. Gas and coal, which together accounted for half the production of energy. So together, if you combine them, it contains the half production of the energy, while nuclear and other kinds of energy sources generated the least amount of energy in France. In all types of energy production, there was only minimal change over the 10-year period. However, they did not talk about oil. I'm surprised. Please do talk about oil, because oil consists a lot of proportion of the pie chart. So talk about that. Okay. See, they did not go into the details, but they gave you an idea, a general trend that's going to happen. Okay. Summarize it. So that's an overview, but please do write about oil. Right? Okay. So that's how you write your overview, and then going to body one. So body one, what should you write in body one? So here, what you should do is look at the chart. Okay. Let's say, since these three are most important factors: oil, natural gas, and coal, right? Or let's say these two are very important. So I will talk about these two, oil and natural gas, in my body one. Okay, because I can compare them and contrast them. It's easy. They are quite important. So I want to talk about them first, because they comprise more proportion of the pie chart, right? So let's say in body one, you will talk about coal. You will talk about natural gas, okay, and you will use comparative sentences. Compare them in different years, okay, because your main task is to compare. If you look your chart, they have written here, compare, make comparisons wherever relevant. So this is quite important. Compare. Okay, so there you go. So that's your body one. That's your body one, if I'm not mistaken. That's your body one. We're going to talk about coal and natural gas. In body two, however, we're going to talk about nuclear power, and we're going to talk about nuclear power, and I think that's hydroelectricity, if I'm not mistaken. Electricity, yeah. So coal and natural gas, or we're going to talk about natural gas, or was it coal? What is the red and yellow? Oh, oil and natural gas. Sorry. So yeah, in oil. So in body one, you're going to talk about oil and natural gas. Okay, and body two will be coal, nuclear power, and hydroelectricity. Okay, there we go. So in body two, you're going to talk about coal, nuclear power, and hydroelectricity. So in body one, I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about oil and natural gas because they contain the maximum proportion of the pie chart. So I'm going to talk about these two, both the years. It's not just 1 year, 1980 to 1990. So you'll compare these two. Okay, and in the second paragraph, body two, you are going to compare these three together. Okay, so it's going to be interesting. There you go. That's how you plan, right? That's how you plan, and that's how it's there. Make sure you add numbers in body one and body two. Have these percentages: 26, 25, 27, 5, 10, 13. Compare them. Okay, compare them. Make sure you compare them properly. Okay. So, yeah. There are some things that you need to see. So in the chart, you need to look at, okay, what are the main sources of energy? So the main sources of energy are, the highest ones. That's what you need to see first. The highest ones are oil, natural gas, coal. These are the highest. These are the first. So look at that. Okay, then you have 5%, 5%. You have 5%, 10%. It doubled. So look at that. Okay. Look at it. Also look at, okay, which sources increased or decreased. Like I made an observation that this one doubled in 1990. This one, decreased by 1% slightly. So it decreased a little bit. So you can use this word vocabulary to make kind of mention Gordita Barba. You can use that here probably somewhere. You can make a note down. I can use the word slightly because slightly for this one. For natural gas, I can use it because there's a slight change. Okay. And this one doubled, so you can use the term doubled here. Okay. Let me write it down here. It's going to be more easy. So you can use the term slightly for natural gas. You can use the term doubled. See, for doubled is for hydroelectricity. Sorry, green is nuclear power. So green is nuclear power. Nuclear power. And then there was a good increase. There was a good jump from oil. See, there was a good fall. There was a substantial decrease, 42% to 33%. So you can use the word substantial decrease, a remarkable decrease. So in case of oil, the red is oil. And again, there was a slight change. There was there was not much of a difference. Okay. So so plan it out. When you plan it out, when you see which one increased, which one decreased, by how much, ওটা দেখে তুমি terms গুলাও ঠিক করতে পারবে. Okay, I'm going to use slight because it's changed a little bit. It's changed slightly, 25, 26% slightly, or you can also use the term, okay, it merely changed or barely changed. You can also use that term, okay, and make sure you write 150 words. If you write under the word count, because I've seen abrar, especially you, if you write under the word count, you won't get a good grade. It'll be 5.5, not more than that. So make sure you've written at least 150 word. Don't go beyond 170, 180 because you just have 20 minutes. Okay. So yeah, there you go. And you should definitely have an overview paragraph. So these are the checklist. You need to write an introduction, paraphrase it. You need to have an overview paragraph and put everything there. Okay. And at least write 150 words. Okay, and use the right terminologies. We'll also have a look of some of the things. So when you look at the graph, these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Okay, what was the main source of energy in 1980? What was the main source in 1990? What was the least amount? What is the highest? What is the lowest? These are the things that you need to look at when you look at a graph or a pie chart or a table. Highest, lowest. Okay, are there anything that's similar, or are there anything that is interesting? Okay, did all types of energy increase? What happened collectively? Did all types increase or decrease? Comment on that. So this will help you to write an overview paragraph. You need to collectively देखो. Okay, collectively की होएছে. Okay, so these are the questions you need to ask yourself, because if you ask these questions to yourself, you can write them in your body 1, body 2, and in an overview as well. I'm not counting introduction because introduction is just a mere paraphrase. So yeah, we've already talked about this, writing sentences in different ways. Okay, writing sentences in different ways. This is quite easy. Okay, we've talked about it. Now let's have a look at the sample. Okay, let's have a look at the sample. So this is your introduction. I hope you can see clearly. I will try and zoom it. Okay, this is the introduction. They have paraphrased it. The two pie charts. Yes, Abrar, we will definitely start task 2, but we cannot jump. This is the biggest problem you have. And then you will tell me, sir, I did not understand. I will definitely, task 2 will take me 1 day, just 1 day to explain you. Can we not jump, please? Okay, great. So yeah, there we go. The two pie charts illustrate 5 types of energy production in France in 1995 and 2005. This is the introduction. I've already read the overview. This is the overview. Do not put any details. I don't want any details. Yes, it should describe the overall trend. I'm going to read this overview paragraph before body 1 and body 2. Therefore, it should give me a clear idea of what the report is going to be. Okay, so it should do that. And make sure you include all the information. Just don't go into numbers. Just don't go into detail. Your numbers and detailing will be done in body 1, body 2. This is body 1. This is body 1. Overall, energy produced by coal comprised. Comprised is such a good word. Write it down. Comprised. Comprised means consist. Comprised. You can use it. Okay, Judy, if you learn 40, 50, 60 vocabularies, easily you'll be able to write task 1. Easily. I gave you some vocabularies yesterday, a lot of vocabularies. I'm giving it to you right now. If you have a list, easily you can write it down. Task 1 is like a formula. Energy produced by coal comprised of 29.80% in the first year. And this showed only a very slight increase. See? A very slight increase, about a mere 1%. So if there's a slight increase, you can use the term slight. Little bit, if it's just 1% or 0.5%, you can use the term mere. See? In 2005, likewise. So instead of, if you've used similarly, you can use likewise. Likewise, in 1995, likewise, comma, in 1995, comma, gas generated 29.63%, which rose marginally. Marginally is a beautiful word. Instead of using remarkably, instead of using sharply all the time, marginally means there was a huge gap, right? Marginally to 30.1% 10 years later. Okay, sorry, marginally means not a huge gap. Marginally means only by a few margins. Sorry about that. Only by a few margins. Okay, like, from 29.63%, it increased marginally to just 30.1%. The difference was not so much. So slight, mere, marginally, it all means the same. Okay, so keep that in mind, right? And then we have body 2. So see, it's so simple. And if you look at this, Abrar, stop thinking of task 2. If you look at this particular paragraph, pura paragraph ta kintu complex sentence hai likha. Dekho, energy produced by coal comprised of 29.80% in the first year, and this showed only a very slight increase of about a mere 1% to 30.9%. See, complex sentence in 2005, full stop. Likewise, in 1905, this is also complex sentence where you have two compound sentences and one dependent clause. So this is an example. This is the kind of standard you must follow. Okay, let's go down. With regards to the remaining methods of producing energy, so now you just have, let's say, 2-3 sections. So this is nice. With regards to the remaining goods or remaining methods, you can use this term, a formula. Last day, Shasha describe kora age? Acha. With regards to remaining goods, there was an approximate. Approximate is a good term. Approximate 5%. Approximate means around that area, roughly. Sorry about my typing errors. Approximate. Okay. Approximate or roughly. Okay. There you go. From both nuclear power and other sources to 10.10% and 9.10% respectively. Petrol, on the other hand, was the only source of energy. Petrol, on the other hand, was the only source of energy which decreased in production from 29.27% in 1995 to around a fifth. Again, this is a great way of explaining, to around a fifth. Fifth means what? 1/5. 20% is 1/5. 20%, right? 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. If you add 25 times, it becomes 100%. So 1/5, around a fifth. You can use a fifth, half. You can use this kind of vocabulary. It's good. We did some task in the class, if you remember, a fifth, half, doubled. This is a good way to explain. So yeah, there you go. This is your writing task that we have done today. Okay, so we talked a lot about this. Okay, writing sentences in different way. I want you to understand the structure, learn the structure. If you know the structure, you can use any words, any content, any sentences here, and you can write 4 different kinds of sentences in your task 1 easily. Okay, so try to understand the structure and try to write it. Okay, and then we looked at pie chart, which is a common one. That's why we did a detailed class on it. What you should do, same structure, introduction. So we've done a rough plan, introduction. We've written the introduction, then you have overview, you have body 1, body 2. Okay, this is how you should write it. Okay, then we talked about the tips. So for today, I will stop here. Today we did about line graph. It was a very good class. Tomorrow we will do diagrams and we will also do task 2. Please do not rush. We just have 2 classes left, writing, and then we are done. So do not rush. Master the technique, like writing structures in different ways. You can also use this in task 2. Okay, the vocabularies you can use in task 2. So don't rush. We just have 2 classes left. We can end it. If you have any questions, you can write it down here. Abrar, I will email you this slide right now so that you can see my notes. You can see everything. For today, your homework should be try to understand this structure. A structure কিভাবে অন্য sentence লেখা যায় দেখো পারো নাকি? Can you write other sentences using this structure, this 4 different structure, and make a list of all vocabularies, at least 100 vocabularies, so that you remember them and write it down in your writing task. Okay, I'll take your leave. It was a great class indeed. Thank you very much. I will see you again.